तमाम साथियों के हुजूर में आजिज़ाना या अली मदद का नजराना कबूल हो. या अली मदद रियाज साहिब on our platform.
Mola. Okay. With Yali Madad, everyone, with Mola's mercy and blessing and everyone's prayers, today we will discuss three chapters. And before I share some thoughts on these three chapters, I just thought to share a very interesting point which I read in the book Sarair. And you know, there is a chapter in Sarair which is related to age of the world. And it's very interesting that this book Sarair is actually in Arabic, and Dr. Fakir Saib had translated some of the sections of this book in Urdu, and Dr. Fakir Saib's nephew Habibullah Najib Hunzai had translated into Urdu, which is known as Sarair al-Taqa. And in that book, there is a chapter which is related to the age of the world. So it was asked to Imam Zainul Abidin that what is the age of the world and how many years are left. So Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam said that how many years are left, you know, Imam didn't give answer to that, but Imam said how many years have passed. So Imam shared that, and Imam said that 160,000 billion years had passed, and that's what Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam said. And if we look at the scientific evidence, so according to the science, only 14 billion years have passed. But what Imam Zainul Abidin alayhi salam said, that 160,000 billion years. So this is just about to give you some thoughts, and that will many lessons we can learn from this. And this is from that chapter from Sarai, the age of the world. So let's come to this. We are going to read Means of Guidance, and we are doing this this book True Vision, Haqiqi, Didar. And if I would humbly ask the volunteer to read this chapter.
Yali Madad, just a moment. Okay, starting with page 13, the Kaaba and the Imam.
It would be Means of Guidance. I think that's what it is. On page
what
13.
Page?
Means of Guidance.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yes.
It's on page number.
Means of Guidance. Riyaz Bhai, I got it.
Yes.
My apologies there.
No problem.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Means of Guidance. In the preceding examples, the divine law has been explained that the Holy Prophet was the guardian and guide of the religion of God, but he, by the command of God, also kept the fountainhead of knowledge, wisdom, and guidance continuing forever in this world by means of the heavenly book and the true Imam. This means that the guidance of the Imam of the time is that of the Prophet, and his guidance is that of God. As it is clear from this verse, 25:31, quote, "And your Lord is sufficient as a guide and helper," unquote. The purpose of this wisdom-filled teaching is that the system of guidance which God has ordained for mankind according to his sunnat, law, and habit is acceptable to him and praised here. And that system is that his guidance and help always continue by means of the true guides. Thus, it is certain that the guidance of the prophets and imams is the guidance of God, because it is they who are commanded by and merged in God. Wasil billah.
Thank you so much. So in this particular chapter, as we can see that means of guidance, and the word hadi is used, and there's a Quranic reference, and which is Surah number 25, verse 31, and your Lord is sufficient as a guide and helper. And if we can remember that we study the saying of Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salam, in which Imam Muhammad Baqir said, "Ma qila fillah fahuwa fina wa ma qila fina fahuwa fil bulaghai min shi'atina." And the translation is, whatever is said about God is about us, and whatever is said about us is about those of our Shia who have surpassed. So we learn this principle. So this guide and this helper is indeed the prophet in the time of prophethood and the imam in the cycle of imamat. So today, through imam's guidance, we can able to achieve the spiritual elevation. And remember, we also discussed the Ismaili preamble, and I'm sure that all of you had this opportunity to read the Ismaili preamble. And if you have not read the Ismaili preamble, please read the Ismaili preamble, and in which, in one of the sections in which Hazimam wrote that Imam's Talim lights the Murid path to spiritual enlightenment and vision. And here I would also like to share one another wisdom. And in this particular wisdom, you would know that the true knowledge we can able to achieve through the Imam, because Imam has gone through the spiritual direction. So let me share with you that that particular question here. So in this one, if someone can read this this one, this question 350.
I can read.
Oh, go ahead.
Question 350. In the verse Surah 3, verse 27, the last part of the magnificent prayer is mentioned, which is as follows. I will let you read the Arabic. What is the wisdom hidden in it? Answer. The usual translation is, and you give sustenance to whom you like, without reckoning. Such a translation leads to the conclusion that those nations that have abundant wealth today and are praised here. However, this is not correct. The correct Tawili translation is, and you grant knowledge to whom you will, even without undergoing the experience of resurrection. In reality, resurrection is a prerequisite to attaining the treasure of knowledge and wisdom.
Thank you so much, Naveen Saiba. So the Quranic phrase is وَتَرْزُقُ مَنْ تَشَاءُ بِغَيْرِ hisab, and you give sustenance to whom you like without reckoning or without the resurrection. So as we learn here that the prophets and the Imam, they go through the spiritual resurrection, And the condition of getting the ta'idi knowledge is through the spiritual resurrection. And if Ali Allah wishes, we get that tawili knowledge without going through the spiritual resurrection. And Alhamdulillah, we are getting this tawili knowledge through the Imam, and in addition to that, through Imam's dais and peas and hujjats. So the principle we learn here is that ta'idi ilm, or this or the tawili ilm comes through going through the spiritual resurrection or the kiyamat. And because we haven't gone through with that, but we are fortunate that we are connected with the light of Imamat. We are connected with our peers and dais in their teachings and the Arif Zaman. So through that, we are learning the Tawili or the Taidi ilm or ilm ladunni, the Quranic term which we find, which is ilm ladunni. Here, let us look at this. We can also go to this reference here, and I can just bring back the slide which we were on before. So in this particular book, True Vision, so let me share that. Okay, so in this one, we have this reference, which is Surah number 25, ayat 31. So in Alam Sahib's book, Vilayat Nama, he wrote, one of the names of God is Hadi, guide, and it is obvious that the Prophet is also Hadi, as is the Imam. See verses 22 by 54, 30 by 53, 13 by 7. Thus it is said, and your Lord is sufficient as a guide and helper. Surah 25, ayat 31. That is, God himself is sufficient for the guidance of people. He does not need anybody else, and the Prophet and the Imam are not anybody else. Rather, they are the mazhar, person or place of manifestation of his sacred light. Therefore, their friendship and love are the friendship and love of God, since their guidance is the guidance of God. And then in the True Vision, we already talked about it, and we learned about it. And there's a point here. And the purpose of this wisdom-filled teaching is that the system of guidance which God has ordained for mankind according to his sunnat law and habit is acceptable to him and praised here. And that system is that his guidance and help always continue by means of the true guides. And so that will give us further understanding. And if you remember that we also discussed this verse 5 by 15, which is also known as the verse of Qad Ja'akum. So it is very interesting that some of the key Quranic verses, I believe they are more than 30 or more than 30 Quranic key Quranic verses, which Allama Sahib had given particular name to those key verses. For example, this verse, Surah 5, ayat 15, Qad ja'akum minallahi nuran wa kitabun mubin, that Allah has sent the light and the book. This verse is known as the verse of Qad ja'akum. And another verse, which is Surah 2, verse 269, which is known as a verse of Khairan Kasira, abundant knowledge, those who are the recipient of knowledge. So it's good that if we can memorize and also try to understand the exoteric and esoteric aspect of these Quranic verses. And in Qad ja'akum minallahi nuran kitabun mubin, as we can look at the sequence, that there is a light first and then there is a book, because in the guidance of the Prophet, that Prophet can teach the wisdom of the book, and after Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, his progeny from Hazrat Ali and all the Imams, and today the present and the living Imam is the guide, is the Sahibi Ta'wil, is the Muallim Quran, is the teacher of the Quran, that he can explain this book according to the time, according to the current situation. We can learn the wisdom of the book. So now let's go to the next chapter, which is the Ahl Bayt and the Imam. So if I can request the volunteer to please come forward.
Bismillah. Ahl-Bayt and the Imam. The Holy Prophet has said about his holy Ahl-Bayt, the people of the house, quote, "By him in whose hand is my soul, faith does not enter the heart of a person until he loves you for the sake of God and his messenger." Unquote. This hadith enjoins not only the friendship and love for Ahl-Bayt, that is, the Panjtanipa, but also that of the Imam of the time, because the very purpose of Ahl-Bayt after the Prophet is the Imam of the time. Having established the necessity of friendship and love for the Imam of the time, we can also say that its natural consequence is his blessed vision, so that thereby this pure religious love may increase progressively. Similarly, the Holy Prophet has said about Maulana Ali alayhi salam, quote, "Nobody except a MOMIN loves him, and nobody except a hypocrite hates him." Here it is necessary to know that just as the Quran is the criterion, Furqan, to distinguish between true and false, the exalted Imam Ali is also the criterion to distinguish between a MOMIN and a hypocrite. The Prophet has said, quote, "Ali loves Allah and his messenger, and Allah and his messenger love him." The Prophet has also said, quote, "I am the house of wisdom, and Ali is its door." Is there another slide?
Oh yeah, sorry, yeah.
Thank you. Thus, it should be known that the status which Ali alayhi salam had is held by the Imam of the time, because it is the same light of wilayat which was in Maulana Ali, which manifests now in the living and present Imam. The above mentioned and many other ahadith show that the veneration, excellence, and honor of the pure Ahl-Bayt and the Imam of the time is unanimously and universally accepted. And they also explain the verses about the walayat of Maulana Ali. How is it possible then for a Momin to doubt the consequences and fruits of the friendship and love for the Imam of the time and his holy vision? However, questioning is a valid and useful for the sake of knowledge. In any case, Alhamdulillah, the true Momins, according to the aim and object of God and His Prophet, befriend and love the Imam of the time, and always yearn ardently for his blessed and sacred vision.
All right. Thank you, Karima Saiba. Thank you for all the volunteers for reading. That was really beautiful. And in this particular chapter, as we can learn about the centrality of the Imamat, and if we can recall the 1995 Moscow Farman, that was the first Farman which Imam made in Moscow. And after 1,000 years, first time Imam visited Central Asia. And in that Farman, as we can remember and we can recall that Imam said that a fundamental principle is the recognition of the Imam. And a love for the Imam is the key point in this chapter, and it reminds me of that very beautiful Vinti Jihure Piasi, in which we find these sentiments of love for the Imam, and how Pir had beautifully given the example of Sachi Re Preet Patangi Kahiye. That's how Pir has given this example. And in addition to that, it also reminds me of a hadith of our beloved Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, in which the Prophet said that the people of my household are like unto the ark of Noah. He who bore it, it was saved, and he who turned away was lost. So for Ark of Noah, this story has some spiritual, many spiritual meanings. And as we know that it was a deluge and the severe flood. And today, if we connect this story in today's time, that the flood is an example of, would be example of doubts and, worldly difficulties. So take these doubts away, and, getting to be, be connected to Ahle Bayt, and to be in this abode of the Imam, we can be saved from all the difficulties. So that would be, one aspect. And another aspect, another spiritual aspect, which is very key aspect, which we find in Allama Sahib's writing. So in Allama Sahib's writing, it said that, when a Imam is going through the personal resurrection, so that personal resurrection is kind of, deluge, it's kind of a severe flood. So in which all the souls come into Imam's personal world. And, even though some of the souls are at the lower level, but the purification it's done in Imam's personal world, coming from the entire humanity. All the souls of all the humanity come into Imam's personal world. So in Imam's personal world, the purification for the souls, all the souls, is done. So in that perspective, we find different perspective or different angle of this personal resurrection, which is connected to this story of Hazrat Noah in a different way. So that is another aspect which I would like to share. And you would able to read this aspect further in this book, Casket of Pearls. So you will find this example and this esoteric aspect in this particular book. So in addition to that, it also reminds me of Imam Sultan Shah alayhi salam's farman. And in this farman, Imam said that deen ki behteri ke liye hum tumhe ek baat batate hain, maa baap jaan माल आल औलाद से भी ज्यादा मोहम्मद और अली के जानशीन पर अपना ईमान मजबूत रखना। अगर तुम मोहम्मद और आली मोहम्मद यानी हाजिमाम पर अपनी मोहब्बत मजबूत रखोगे, तो तुम्हें दुनिया के अंदर कोई भी गम नहीं रहेगा, और इस एक फरमान में दीन की सारी खूबियां आ जाती है। So this is just a gist of this farman I just share with you, that Imam said that love more than your wealth, more than your physical parents, love the progeny, love the Prophet and the progeny of the Prophet. And if you have love for the present and the living Imam, then you would have no fear, no worldly fear in your heart. And this particular farman brings all the qualities of our faith. So that is the centrality of our faith and our mazhab, Ismaili mazhab, which we are very fortunate. And today we see that we have a diverse Jamaat, the Jamaat from all over the world. But one principle which binds all of us together is the allegiance and the bayat to the present and the living Imam. That's what it is. Imam also mentioned in his preamble. So let's go to the next section, and today we will conclude with this last chapter, the heart of the Momin and the Imam. Because the reason why I'm just trying to keep it brief, because I want that we all reflect on these chapters, and this is my personal experience. More we engage ourselves in zikr, tasbih, and going to Jamaat Khana, that will help us to bring more perspective, and more questions we have, automatically we get answers, and Ali Allah helps us and guide us where we can find the answers of some of the questions which we have. And that's what Allama Sahib said in his in one of his books. He gave this advice that we are like the bird. As the bird has two wings, and through these two wings the bird can fly. So similarly, we have two wings. One is the wing of ibadat, and another wing is the wing of knowledge. Like the bird, entire day birds spends for food. So similarly, we engage in zikr and ibadat and knowledge in order to gain ilm ladunni, in order to gain the spiritual knowledge which comes through the Imam. So let's go to the last one. If I can ask the volunteer to please read this section.
The heart of the Momin and the Imam. According to an hadith, the heart of the Momin is the throne of God. The point worth reflecting on here is that the Momins, with respect to increase and decrease of the light of faith, Iman, are on differing levels. Therefore, it is absolutely correct to say that it is the heart of the Prophet and that of the Imam which in true sense is the throne of God, as they are on the perfect level of the light of faith. And there is no doubt that in reality it is their heart which is his throne of spirituality, luminosity, and recognition. This shows that numerous blessings are hidden in the sacred vision of the Imam of the time.
Subhanallah, subhanallah, shukranallah, alhamdulillah. Thank you so much. So we can highlight this very important point here. It is absolutely correct to say that it is the heart of the Prophet and that of the Imam, which in true sense is the throne of God. So earlier, as we also talked about this throne of God, and here because in true reality the Prophet and the Imam is the arsh or throne of God, that would be we learn here. And if we can learn this principle of Imam Muhammad Baqir alayhi salam, what Imam Muhammad Baqir said, and as a true Momin, as a true believer of the Imam of the time, we can also get to that spiritual elevation through Fanafillah, as Imam Sultan Shah mentioned in his Mubarak Farman and also in the Usul-e-Din Farman. So with these thoughts, I would like to conclude with this example, which Allama Sahib had often given this example, that example of lawful animals like a cow or goat. As we know, these lawful animals, when they eat the food, they bring the food back from their stomach and chew the food again. So similarly, this is what, as a true Momin and as true believers of the Imam of the time, we should regurgitate. That's the word, regurgitate or jugali. We should do the jugali of the ilmi points. Bring those ilmi points back and reflect on it whenever we read the Farman of Imam of the time or any Ginan or any hadith. We can come to that and reflect on it. And as we learned about the love for the Imam and various hadiths we find, and the last saying of Prophet Muhammad, and Prophet said that O Allah, be friend of the one who is friend of Ali and be enemy of the one who is enemy of Ali. And that last saying, that it's very important at the time of as we heard in at the time of Eid Qadir. So that is the saying of, and in which Hazrat Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam also said that, you know, O Ali, send, O Allah, send Ali wherever the haqq go. So with these thoughts, I'm sure that, you know, all of you can also add many points in this conversation, in this speech. And it was Ali Allah's blessing and everyone's prayers that if something is good, it's through his blessings. And in anything which I need to improve, then it would be from my side. So thank you so much, everyone, for your interaction and for your attention.
Subhanallah, 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 beautiful. These topics are so beautiful in a way that, you know, concise, and it's guiding us right in the direction of what we need to know and what we need to follow. So shukr Mawla for giving us your time and understanding and explaining this. So shukr alhamdulillah.
Shukran Mawla. And of course, you know, all the friends who came to this gathering, it's, you know, through their presence, you know, because what I believe that as a speaker, you know, we cannot able to speak until we get spiritual help, and spiritual vibration is coming from all the friends present today in this meeting. So it's, you know, indeed Mawla's blessing.
Shukr Mawla, shukr. Friends, if you have any questions, any comments, you can come forward.
Yeah, overall, it's a really good book, True Vision. And, you know, as I mentioned earlier, you know, more we read, every time we find, you know, different perspective. And, you know, and I say to myself, oh, last time I read it and I didn't think in that way. And now it's a different perspective. As we learned that Quranic verse about Qiyamah, that Ali Allah gives knowledge to someone if he wishes without going through the resurrection, right? Abundant knowledge.
Subhanallah, subhanallah. A friend is actually asking, can you talk a little bit more about walayat as a first pillar?
Yes. So for walayat is, so we have two words, so walayat and wilayat. So walayat is like, you know, friendship and love for the imam, and wilayat is basically the authority of the imam. And if you read the book Walayat Nama by Allama Sahib, you will find more clarification in that particular book. But just to remember that walayat is the key principle of Shia Imamis with the Ismaili perspective. And if you look at the Sunni perspective, you know, they don't include walayat. But basically, Imam Jafar Sadiq said in his book, Imam Jafar Sadiq said, and which you find in Daimul Islam, which is by Dai Qazi Noman, in which Imam said that Islam is based on 7 pillars. So walayat is basically the love for the Imam and friendship for the Imam.
Subhanallah, subhanallah. There is another question. You mentioned Hazrat Noah's story. Can you please expand a little bit on the story, how story of Hazrat Noah and deluge how it is related?
Yes, so definitely. So with Mawla's blessing, as you know, so if we can, you know, connect today, right? So all the difficulties, or we can say, you know, the doubts. So that would be the example of, you know, severe flood, or you can say like too much getting into materialism. That would be the example of flood. So how we can save oneself, that, you know, to board into the ark of the Imam. Today, that ark, as you know, as I read this saying of the Prophet, the people of my household, the Ahl Bayt are like unto the ark of Noah. So if we are in with the Imam, then we are in the board of Hazrat Noah. And in that board, we would be saved from all the doubts and all the difficulties, and then an imam will guide us to that spiritual path. So that's how you can visualize this example and the story of Hazrat Noah, that at the time of Hazrat Noah, that he commanded to everyone to come into that particular boat, right? So physically it wouldn't be possible that all people can get into one boat. So that would be the example. It's just an example to be connected with that light from Hazrat Adam, Hazrat Noah, Hazrat Ibrahim, and through all the prophets, and going through the chain of imamat, and to always stay connected with the light, with the present and the living imam. So that would be one perspective. And as I said, that this story has many esoteric meanings and many levels. So more we go into the deeper meaning, we will find more esoteric aspect of it. So that would be just one aspect, and I invite you to seek for more spiritual aspects. And this particular book, which I mentioned earlier, you will find more explanation, more esoteric explanation in that book.
Ameen. Subhanallah, subhanallah. Another friend has asked question, how do we get knowledge? Like ilm laduni is given in batin. Can we also get it like that? Can we also get it, or we have to read and learn? And what's the difference between it?
Yes, it's a good question. So it would be through Imam's blessing, and right now, since we are not at that level yet, right? Because as I mentioned, that there is a condition to get through the Tawili knowledge. We have to go through that spiritual resurrection, but we have not gone through that. But we can get that Tawili knowledge through the books of our Pirs and Dais. And of course, if it would be Imam's blessing, and through Imam's blessing, we can able to understand, understand some points of wisdom. But basically, the point is that the question is coming in that direction, that can we do ta'wil? So we are not able to do the ta'wil, because that is only for the prophets and the imams, and for those arifin who have annihilated and reached to that level. So so these are some of my thoughts for that.
Inshallah, we can all, get ahead in our practices, our ilmu ibadat, and our personal search. So inshallah, we may be able to get to higher level ranks. So inshallah, we can all get this beautiful knowledge which we are talking about.
Amen.
Ameen, ameen. Friends, if you have any questions or any comments, you can come forward and unmute.
ALWAAZ, sir.
Maulana Madad?
सर मुझे ये पूछना था सर कि जैसे वो अहले बैत की जो हदीस भी है कि हमारी बात बेभारी वस्तु और मुखी जाऊं छू, तो वो है फिर जो एक वो वो आयत उतरी थी अहले बैत की कि तो तुम भी अपनी फैमिली को लेकर आओ, मैं भी अपनी फैमिली को लेकर आता, तो तभी भी वो चद्दर के अंदर जो तफसीर है कि 5 मतलब हजरत अली, हजरत इमाम हुसैन, हजरत हसन और हजरत बीबी फातिमा ज़हरा और नबी साहब, और कुरान की आयत भी है कि मैं अपनी रिसालत की बदली में सिर्फ अहले बैत के लिए प्यार चाहता हूँ। तो हर जगह पे लाइक ये पंजतन पाक और अहले बैत का बहुत कनेक्शन लाइक समझ में आता है, तो थोड़ा सा हकीकी दीदार के अंदर ये पंजतन पाक को वो कॉन्टेक्स्ट में थोड़ा समझाना सर प्लीज।
हाँ जी, जरूर। तो गुलजार साहिब, आपने बहुत ही अच्छे पॉइंट्स को जो है वो हाईलाइट किया, और यहाँ पर चूंकि जैसे आपने आयत तथीर का भी बताया और पंचतन पाक का जिस तरह से आपने कि वो 5 नूर जो है वो उन तमाम के अंदर जो नूर था, और उस वक्त जो अमर था वो प्रॉफिट मोहम्मद सल्लल्लाहु अलैहि वसल्लम के पास वो अमर जो है वो उस वक्त उनके पास था। तो जब हम अहले बैत की बात करते हैं तो उससे मुराद जो है वो तमाम जिनके पास जो वो खुदावंदी नूर प्रॉफिट मोहम्मद के बाद इमाम हसन, इमाम हुसैन, और फिर पंचतन पाक के अंदर और फिर हजरत अली से होते हुए तमाम इमामों से जो है वो पास्ट ऑन होते हुए जमाने के इमाम हाजिर इमाम में जो नूर हाजिर वो मौजूद है, तो उनसे जो है वो हकीकी मोहब्बत और उनसे जो है वो इश्क रखना, उसकी तरफ जो है वो कुरान के अंदर हमें ज्यादा से ज्यादा उसकी जो है वो तालीम दी जाती है। और जिस तरह से कि मौलाना हाज़िम इमाम ने फरमाया, and Imam said that Imam loves you much more than you can ever love him. So this is the a key principle कि जो है वो पर्सनैलिटी चेंज हो जाती है, इमाम का जामा जो है वो चेंज हो जाता है। जैसे इमाम सुल्तान मोहम्मद शाह से जामा चेंज होके हाजिर इमाम मौलाना शाह करीम अल हुसैनी हाजिर इमाम में जो है वो जामा चेंज हो गया, लेकिन जो है नूर एक ही है। तो इसलिए हम उस नूर से जो है वो मोहब्बत रखते हैं, इश्क रखते हैं, और अपना तन मन धन सब कुछ इमाम के लिए कुर्बान कर देते हैं और इमाम के लिए सबमिट करते हैं।
थैंक यू सर, शुक्रिया दिया। थैंक यू।
Shukr alhamdulillah, shukr alhamdulillah. Thank you so much, Riyaz Sahib, for giving us your time and sharing the knowledge with us. May, inshallah, you can continue to join and inshallah finish the book with us and give your time. So we are all looking forward to that. Thank you so much, Ya Ali Madad friends.
Ya Ali Madad, Ya Ali Madad.
Ya Ali Madad, Ya Ali Madad.
Mala Ali Madad.
Ya Ali Madad.
Mala.
Ya Ali Madad.
या अली मदद।
मौला अली मदद, मौला अली मदद।
कैसे हो रियाज?
हाँ शुक्र मौला। मुनीरा कैसे आप?
शुक्र, ठीक हूँ।
शुक्र।
गुड टू हियर यू।
थैंक यू, शुक्र मौला।